Games, Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life here with another episode of the Nasties. And we are going to what I personally consider one of the tamest, provided you remove all sexual assaults. And in regards of horror, I think this is probably one of the tamest, purely because a lot of the horror is based around an alligator. Sorry, a crocodile. That is very specific. It's a crocodile, not an alligator. A lot of it takes place around that. I think that's really the problematic side of this is more the sexual assaults. Yeah. The violence. Yeah. The violence towards women more than anything else.
I thought the films were quite confused overall.
Oh, it is a very confusing movie. It is Eaten Alive, aka better known as in most places as Death Trap. However, in our country, it is Eaten Alive. 1976, directed by Tobe Hooper. Yes, that Tobe Hooper. Starring Neville Brand, Mel Ferreira, Carolyn Jones, and Marilyn Burns. Excuse me. It was released with only 25 seconds cut in 1992, but re-released uncut in 2000. The movie wasn't prosecuted. It's one of them. Mary Whitehouse. Now, this is a very important one. Mary Whitehouse, who, if you've been watching this series from the very start, you'll know is one of the champions, the leaders of the video nasty scandal, the prosecution list and so on, alongside the paper, the rag, if you want to call it that, instead, the Daily Mail. Yeah. But Mary Whitehouse apparently took personal objection to this movie. Why? Yeah. Now, all right, if it's the violence against women, fair enough. But come on, man. They're all fucking like that. Yeah. You know, behave. This comes with a ton of special editions. Really, really ton. Director approved, apparently. Brand new 2K restoration of the film from the original camera negative approved by Tobe Hooper. High definition Blu-ray. This movie. Original mono audio, optional English subtitles, audio commentary with co-writer and producer Mardi Rostam, actors Roberta Collins, William Finley and Carl Richards, and makeup artist Craig Reardon. New introduction to the film by Hooper. We watched that. It's 10 seconds of Tobe Hooper. Look, it looked to me like he had been grabbed at a convention or something and asked to do it. Yeah, that's it wasn't great. Blood on the Bayou, a brand new interview with Hooper, probably more interesting. Gator Bait, a brand new interview with star Janice Blythe. Monsters and Metaphors, a brand new interview with makeup artist Craig Reardon. The Gator Crater, an archive interview with Hooper. My Name is Buck, an archive interview with star Robert England. 5 Minutes with Marilyn Burns. The Texas Chain Star discusses her role in Eaten Alive. The Butcher of Elmendorf, The Legend of Joe Ball, featurette looking at the true life story of the Southern Texas bar owner on whom Eaten Alive is loosely based on. The original theatrical trailers for the film under its various alternate titles, Eaten Alive, Death Trap, and Starlight Slaughter, and Horror Hotel. Horror Hotel, probably best name of that lot. Yeah. TV radio spots, alternative opening titles, behind the scenes slideshows, stills and promo material gallery, audience comment cards, reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Gary Poulin, which is what you see in the front there. Okay. Thoughts on the film to begin with?
Just confused.
Just confused.
Yeah, it's go one way or the other. Don't do two separate storylines badly. I don't know what you thought on it.
I found it to be tepid and fairly fucking boring, but a bit more than anything else, horribly frustrating. This is a film that relies on tropes that all women are idiots. Yeah, weak. All women are weak, unwilling. The moment a man comes along who isn't even that tough of a villain, but goes, their answer to that is go,
not fight back at all.
Scream, put your hands up and just take it. It relies on that, and that to me is hard to watch these days, regardless of when it was filmed. So we referenced this, we'll bring it up now. Joe Ball, the movie that this is supposedly loosely based upon, was an American murderer and suspected serial killer, sometimes referred to as the Alligator Man, the Butcher of Elmendorf, and the Bluebeard of South Texas. He is known to have killed 2 and is said to have killed as many as 20 women in the 1930s. Ball was the great-great-grandson of John Hart Crenshaw, the notorious slave trader kidnapping a slave breeder in Gatlin County, Illinois. After serving the front lines in Europe during World War I, Ball started his career as a bootlegger, providing illegal liquor to those who could pay. At the end of Prohibition, he opened a saloon called a Sociable Inn in Elmendorf, Texas. He built a pond that contained 6 alligators because he misunderstood the term corpus delicti, believes that a murder conviction without a body would be impossible.
Okay, some people.
So he basically fed his victims to his alligators, believing, well, there's no body, I'm free. Yeah, okay. So, movie opens at a brothel. Kinky sex. Brock wants kinky sex. I'm going to be cross about this. He wants anal.
Yeah.
And he wants it from the new prostitute named Clara Wood. Now, Buck, as we've already mentioned, is played by Robert Englund.
A very young one as well.
Very, very young.
Weird seeing in a sort of sexual sense.
You seem to have a bit of a problem with that. I think I didn't, because I said to you, I've seen a lot of his early work, so for me it wasn't that big of a deal. But you seem to be weirded out by it.
It's just odd because he's like a funny looking bugger.
Funny looking bugger.
Yeah, he is.
Obviously, if you don't know, Robert Englund is most famous for playing Freddy Krueger, a legend among the horror world. And Roberta Collins plays Clara Wood. Clara is a prostitute who doesn't want to be a prostitute.
Yeah, she's in the wrong game.
She's in the wrong game, and it's particularly annoying because she's not being forced. This isn't like forced to be a sex worker. No. It's a small town. It looks like it runs on prostitution and liquor. That is its major kind of thing. But no one's forcing her to do this, to the point where when it's time to leave, when she wants to leave, she leaves.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like it's more... it's just a bit annoying, the fact that you don't think she would have got that far. I mean, she's quite young, and obviously don't know how long she's been there for, but yeah, just...
She's a doe-eyed innocent.
Yeah.
She's a doe-eyed innocent. Don't get me wrong, Buck is a dick. Like, his character is a dick, and even with prostitution... You got
to respect the girls.
It's going to become rape. Yeah. It's going to become rape. That is the simple matter of it.
But I suppose it's setting him up. It's setting him up right at the very beginning, isn't it? As his character Buck, because he's the same all the way through.
Oh yeah. He's a hothead youngster who's obsessed with sex and doesn't like being told what to do. Yeah. That is exactly what his character is. Miss Hattie, Carolyn Jones interrupts it. I will get to it in a minute. But I want to come back to it. Miss Hattie basically keeps Buck sweet by offering him 2 girls. Yeah. Choose 2 girls from downstairs, and basically says to Clara that, look, man, this work ain't for you. Off you go. Yeah. Kicks her out. Yeah. Clara gets given some money by the housekeeper, I think, the housekeeper, and ends up going to the Starlight Hotel, which is like in the swamps of this rural Texas town. Yeah. She gets there by going through the fucking woods as well. It's proper off the beaten path. Yeah. We should say this now. This film looks like it was filmed on a set. Yeah. And it was. Yeah. And you will not be able to unsee that. No. The lighting, the way it's positioned, the build, it looks fake as fuck. Yeah. Not good. No. Even though I like the lighting and the feel of it.
Like the red against the sort of smoky water of the
there's a nice
swamp.
bit of blueness to the forest, you know. Yeah. It is clearly a set. Now, we're going to go back a step. Miss Hattie. Now, we said why. So, Miss Hattie is played by Carolyn Jones. Carolyn Jones is not an old woman. No. They wanted Miss Hattie to be an old woman.
So the makeup looks like... I think when people used to get like glue on their hands and it puckers your skin. It looks like they've done some sort of effect on her skin with the makeup to make her face look puckered all over and tight and leathery. Yep. But the colour of it, the colour's not matched right, and she's quite well lit. Yep. So it just looks bizarre. It looks like she's got some sort of like skin condition, but it looks so much like a skin condition that they would address, if that makes sense. Yep. Like it's part of her character. They'd go over the top of it and make it more of a character.
Absolutely. It's awful makeup. It's awful makeup, and later on, it's so bad you realise that she can't blink. Yeah. So later on, I could not stop staring at the fact that her eyes look glued open. Yeah. Which is how bad it bloody is. Yeah. Miss Hattie looks terrible. She's not a nice character either, as later on it's implied she might have sent Clara to this hotel on purpose to get rid of her. Yeah. At this hotel, the Starlight Hotel, we meet Judd. Judd is a character and a half. Neville Brand, who does a good job, I think, to play a mentally ill loner, psycho, and so on. One that potentially might have split personality as well. However, it's given too much screen time. Yeah. Way too much screen time. That I could do without. This movie would be half an hour less if they cut out all the Judd's gibbering. Abso-fucking-lutely.
And we can get you can do a couple of scenes to set that up, and that would make a lot more sense than the constant talking himself, taking down numbers, and because he was in the army, he wants order and things like that. You can imply it a lot quicker than how this film does it.
Yep. Clara also sees his pet crocodile. So he's got a little cage pool next to it where he keeps a crocodile. And Judd talks about this crocodile being smart and clever and knowing and stuff like this. Crap that is really irrelevant anyway. It's a crocodile. While bringing Clara upstairs, he realises that she's from Madame Hattie's, and I don't know, that turns a switch in his head, and he decides he wants to rape her. Yeah. Clara screams, runs, falls, screams, runs, falls, does nothing. Judd ends up stabbing her with a pitchfork outside, where then the crocodile ends up bursting through and eating her.
That's your opening, really.
That's the first quarter of the movie, really, to imply it sets up everything. To be fair, Judd's psychotic, his crocodile is violent, the hotel, the prostitution, Buck. I mean, it sets up everything. It's just, it's not very good, if I'm honest. We've seen it all before, really have. Then we're introduced to guests arriving for this hotel and welcoming the couple. We have Faye and Roy. Faye played by Marilyn Burns and Roy played by William Finley, along with their very young daughter. I can't remember her name. Angie?
Yeah, Angie's a daughter.
Yes, very young daughter. And I don't know if this is entertaining or just fucking weird.
They start off okay. like the actual setup, the initial them coming to the hotel and what eventually causes them to stay at the hotel makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. They seem like a normal couple that are just on their way somewhere else. He's dressed like a suit and a boot man. She's dressed in a certain way as well. They seem like they've got a bit of money and so on. But the dog ends up getting through the fence. Their dog gets through the fence and gets killed by the crocodile, which sends Angie into shock. So, you know, Judd's like, look, take her upstairs, sort her out there, that kind of thing. And we get
really drawn out
scenes, several of them.
Yeah.
So we get this constant jumping where Judd's listening at the door and then wandering around and muttering to himself as well. We get this really long scene where he's turning on lights. Just turning a light on. Then to the next one and turning the light on.
Yeah. It's just bizarre.
It's just weird.
And so,
couple though, go on.
Oh, the couple. So at first they're obviously trying to calm down a daughter and things like that, and then it feels like there's like a side plot they want to introduce with the couple where there's some issues between them. So he's quite disturbed mentally. The wife suddenly all of a sudden takes her wig off.
Yeah.
So she's covered her hair. I don't know if they're on the run from something. I don't know where that comes from. So it's all a bit odd, and it just seems a bit shoved in there. I don't know why they couldn't show just a normal couple.
Why
normal, that's the wrong word. So not normal, but like a straightforward wife, husband, daughter. She's messed up. I've seen a dog being munched on by a crocodile. We're going to stay here until we calm down. Obviously, try and get some money out of the hotel owner. I'm guessing for your pet's eating my pet.
Yep.
That kind of thing. But yeah, this is this weird kind of surreal storyline was a bit out of place.
Absolutely, and it's not helped that William Finley overacts to the point where it's like, the fuck am I watching? And as I said, I can't work out if it's entertaining or just bad.
Yeah, skip to the next bit.
Because it's implying that he is mentally ill. Like the barking bit.
Yeah.
The barking bit. And it just comes out of nowhere. It's so fucking weird.
There's not enough time in this film to have all these different plot lines. And it's a waste of time anyway, because obviously what happens next.
Which is he goes downstairs to kill the crocodile. He gets a rifle and gets a rifle out of his boot and he wants to kill a crocodile. Judd tries to stop him, but he's going to kill the crocodile. Judd's end up attacking him with a scythe.
It's a good weapon.
Get used to seeing this scythe, which is to me the worst weapon possible for this, because it's used in constantly enclosed spaces. Yet it's seen as some sort of deadly weapon. So Judd ends up killing him and then putting him into the crocodile. This crocodile devours everything, it seems. Everything. No trace of the body whatsoever. He ends up attacking Faye, straps her to the bed where she will wait for a long time, and Angie, the daughter, ends up escaping underneath the house, the hotel's porch. Another point where it's just like, this goes on forever. She's under that porch for pretty much the rest of the movie. And she's really under the porch so we can set up several times, several different characters hearing her and going to investigate. Yet she never tries to escape, even though it's just a shitty fucking lock, a hook lock as well.
Yeah.
You can say she's scared and stuff like that, but I just don't buy it. Just don't buy it.
No.
Because then we introduce the next set of characters, Harvey Wood, which is Mel Ferreira, and Libby, who is played by Kristen Sinclair. They are arriving at the Starlight Hotel because guess who they're looking for? Clara. Turns out Libby is her sister and Harvey is her father. They are looking for their runaway daughter, Clara, who obviously is dead. There was issues in the family back home. Clearly Harvey and Libby have money, the car, the dress and so on. But of course Judd says he's never seen her. They end up going to see Sheriff Martin, who is played by Stuart Whitman, who is all man in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, he is every bit that manly sheriff kind of thing. Likeable character, though. Likeable.
Yeah, like he wants to do the best for these people.
Yep.
And
But it's a small town,
Yeah.
and he keeps shit in control, as we'll see later on. It's simple as that. Doesn't no real trouble.
Yeah.
He ultimately he lets the prostitution go on because ultimately it's illegal. I guess just because. Never really explained why, but it doesn't really matter. But he ends up taking them and agreeing to take Harvey Wood and Libby to see Miss Hattie. Miss Hattie, of course, denies ever seeing Clara.
Oh, of course you would.
Yep. And when she leaves, she says something. I can't remember what she says. Like, she plays... This is how we know the makeup's on purpose. She plays a dothering old lady.
Yeah.
Because when they leave, she's like, yep, like, fool them, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they clearly were, like, trying to have her be older than she actually is.
Yeah.
Harvey goes back to the hotel room. Libby goes for dinner and drinks with the sheriff. When Harvey returns back to the hotel room, he ends up hearing Cat Faye. He's kind of banging on the hotel room. And before he can rescue her, ends up dead. He also hears Angie. Right, it's Angie as well underneath. And it's while he's bending over like the pit. And I'm expecting the crocodile to come up and chomp and stuff like that. But it's not. Ends up being Judd with the scythe through his throat. Pretty violent scene, actually. Because he ends up like forcing him and lowering him into the crocodile den and then trying to get the scythe out.
Yeah.
It's pretty long. Probably one of the more violent scenes.
Yeah, it's prolonged, isn't it? So we've always noticed with these films, it's like the prolonged imagery. Rather
Yes.
than just a quick scythe to the neck and he's off. It's,
Absolutely.
quite nasty.
Absolutely. The sheriff talks to Libby for a bit as we find out that her father doesn't have long to live anyway, which is why he wants to make amends with his daughter. And the sheriff gets into it with Buck here. So Buck's at the bar, Buck at the place, and he's basically feeding drinks to an underage girl.
Yeah.
Which obviously the sheriff says isn't okay, which is weird considering it's called prostitution, but whatever. He ends up kicking Buck out. Buck tries to get some cheek back, but then there's that whole teenager thing, muttering behind his back kind of shit. And he ends up taking this girl, Lynette, Janice Blythe, back to the Starlight Inn for you know what.
Yeah.
Buck has an ongoing relationship with Judd. They do not like each other. But Buck knows something that's going on there. Something. Because he has this hold over Judd to the point where he's going to take a room and he's going to do shit, basically. Sexy stuff. Sex. I thought it was weird to imply the girl was underage for drinking. Now, I realise underage drinking and underage sex are different things in America. But I thought it made the whole scene weird.
I don't think she looked...
She wasn't underage. She didn't look young.
She didn't look very young.
No
I think
way.
if they'd have made her younger looking, that would have been like, where are we getting the line there? But I think there could be a difference of 3 years between the fact you can drink and have sex. So, like, some states 18 years old, but 21 is all over.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
I don't think there was anything major.
I just thought it made it necessarily weird, but then we needed a reason for it. So anyway, you kind of get you get a lot of topless stuff here. You get to see Robert Englund in his white Y-fronts, if that's your jam, like proper baggy looking things as well.
Like Richie in Bottom.
Yeah, they're not. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. But he's getting annoyed because Judd has turned the music up, and Judd has turned the music up to try and drown out the sound of Faye and the girl underneath the things. Yeah. But that's pissing Buck off. Yeah. But Buck does actually hear the sound of Angie and does what they all do, goes to investigate. He then gets pushed into the croc pond by Judd, and then obviously ends up dead at the croc's hands.
Or mouth.
Yeah, hands. That kind of thing. What's it called? This is where Lynette runs out, sees what Judd did, and runs through the woods. Judd chases her through the woods. It's so foggy and misty in there. He ain't finding shit. So that's how he ends up losing her. And Lynette is eventually saved by a passing car. Yeah. which basically spells the end of the movie.
Yeah.
If she's been saved, he's not getting away with it for much longer.
Yeah.
Libby gets back to the hotel and ends up again hearing Faye and rescues her. Now, this is when shit gets annoying. So but at this point, Judd has, what he's done is he's made a hole to unleash the crocodile to get Angie underneath.
Yeah.
We should say the crocodile for the most part looks all right in the water.
For the age of it and how much budget it probably went towards it,
It looks all right.
They don't show too much of it, which I think is good.
Until it's crawling after Angie. And it moves like a gecko.
Yeah.
And it looks like a gecko. And it's like, oh, you used a big gecko, didn't you?
And then just like...
And then...
shown that, yeah.
Yeah, because it isn't... Yeah. And it chases Angie and so on, but she ends up being saved by the two women. Now, this is where your movie should be this. This should be these women kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And knocking him into it. That's how you end it. You end it. Powerful women standing up against this abuser, beating the shit out of him, and then knocking him into his crocodile pen. Unfortunately, it's not the case. Instead, he starts to get the upper fucking hand on two of them with a scythe that he can't swing for shit upstairs, for God's sake. It is infuriating. Infuriating. He knocks Faye off the balcony, chasing down. Oh, it's just... It's not...
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, come on. He ends up chasing him into the swamp, and then he's just attacked and grabbed by his own pet crocodile and killed.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's such a shit ending. That's such a shit ending. And it's not like what you saw throughout was worth it anyway.
No.
So
Dragged out.
drawn out, boring at times, and so much of just the same old crap. We've seen Psycho chases, Psycho kills, Psycho does this. But only the thing that I'm going to remember the most for it is just being one of these infuriating movies of crap characters.
Yeah, and the ones that are really kind of... The ones that do stand out just shine a light on the rest of the film. So like Buck. He's a really fun character.
Yeah.
You know, this is what he is. There's no kind of like false pretenses about Buck. And he gets a cool line as well.
Yep.
My name is Buck and I like to...
Yeah, well, here's it. My name is Buck and I like to fuck. That's it. Exactly right.
That's pretty much his whole purpose, really.
But it's Robert Englund. What do you expect?
Yeah.
The man is talented.
And Judd, the guy that played Judd, was very good. Just need to kind of trim that down.
Yep.
So maybe have like just, I don't know, maybe he's counting money or something, or doing something to show that his thought process is not right, or he's not happy, or he has some sort of flashback to something or other. So maybe someone banging on the wall takes him back somewhere. But yeah, it was just very, very drawn out. I didn't want to see the girl cry under the house for God knows how long on end. And yeah.
Absolutely. Lawrence Neville Brown, we shall quickly mention him. The dude is quite a legend before this kind of movie. I don't know who he was. He died in 1992, age 71 years old. He is very, very, very good. But his most memorable roles were Starlag 17 in 1953, Right and Cell Block 11 1954, and Birdman of Alcatraz 1962. He's also a highly decorated World War II combat soldier.
So that's probably why he played a war veteran quite well.
Yeah, because we should also add there's some sort of touches that are kind of cool, such as he's got a wooden leg. Because there was a point earlier on where he wrestles with the rifle, the shotgun, with Roy, and gets shot on the leg, and I was like,
He's been blown off.
and I was like, his leg should be blown up. I mean, it should have still been blown on.
Yeah.
In the end, it just shows he's got buckshot in his leg, in his wooden leg. And it was a nice touch of stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think he's bad. It's just the problem is they gave too much.
Yeah.
Stuart Whitman is obviously a legendary actor of so many fucking movies. These are great, great actors doing great, great stuff. Stuart Whitman, as of time recording, died this year, March 16th, at the age of 1992. Marilyn Burns is famous. William Finley is a famous actor as well. These are all famous. Mel Ferreira. These are all quality actors. No issues there. Problem is it's so drawn out. They just end up being bogged down with too much, like we said with Neville Brand, too much dialogue. We want you to be a gibbering psycho. Too much of it.
Yeah.
Bring it down. Cut bits. Let us work a lot of it out for ourselves.
Yeah, and I did get excited about when you said, it's about crocodile. I was like, what?
Different.
That's fun,
Yeah. We've not done that. Yeah.
But it was. I didn't have fun with either. If that makes sense, I didn't have fun with either. So the crocodile wasn't.
Auxiliary character.
Yeah.
It's an auxiliary character. This movie is about a psycho hotel owner.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it is. Yeah. The crocodile is there just to consume some victims and for the ending.
I think he needed more people to kind of sniff him out in different ways, because the couple with the the couple that came in second with their daughter, no, first with their daughter, they took your brain off on a different tangent. You're like, I don't want to watch them. I don't want to watch Roy overact. I just want to see their part play out. Let's get to another person. It might have needed another person to come in.
Yeah.
To experience the weirdness.
Maybe another guy.
Further.
Maybe another man as well.
Yeah.
You know, maybe another man.
Yeah, that would have been just added extra part to it. But yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's not the worst.
No.
It's not the best.
No.
Seeing it in the video nasty light, I struggle. We can only come to the violence, the sexual violence, that's attempted, because there's never really actually any sexual violence that occurs.
No, not compared to when we watched one of the previous ones where there's quite a lot where the guy was literally just like, the woman was tied up and he was trying to.
Oh, you're talking about
the
that
jungle one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
that was so much more and like prolonged, and you knew exactly what was going on. This one, it's more just implied. He wanted to kind of go through a bit, but even that he couldn't really do. So, yeah, it was a milder end, the lower end of it, if that makes sense.
I think violence-wise, ultimately, like gore-wise, it's probably the scythe scene with Mel Ferreira's character more than anything else. The scythe through the neck, probably the real standout one more than anything else. But I think it's wholly. I think this is very important. I think it's wholly unmemorable. I think it's one that if we had recorded this video 6 months after watching it, we wouldn't have been able to talk it through. Not without literally having to read word for word exactly what the plot was.
Yeah, it would have been, people got fed to crocodile. Oh, we'd have to go back and go.
Yeah, it would have been a real struggle. Yeah. So certainly not worthy of a watch, basically. Yeah. But you let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?